and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining me for our last card of this week for the stamp set Ice Cream Swirl. So I was just putting my tea down there. Notice the shadow across. So today we have got almost a funky fold card, but it's got a gap here instead. So when you open it, you lift it up and the ice cream is the section below. Keeps it, so you've got your little flap here as well. So quite a fun card, and at last we get to see the ice cream. So let me show you how to do this, and later on I will show you another card that I made at our crafting session a couple of weeks back when the ladies came for the retreat. But first let's get on with our card for today. So these are our supplies. So you'll probably recognise these straight away because these were, if you watched Wednesday's video, that is, these were the leftovers from Wednesday's card. So we're going to use those, pop those down there. We're going to use those today in our ice cream. So I've got the designer series paper, which is 6x6, but we'll cut that down together. Then I have a piece of crumb cake for the ice cream cone. I have a piece of gorgeous grape for the swirls on the ice cream. I've actually put a sticky page, the adhesive sheet, on the back of this one. I've then got my early espresso with an adhesive sheet to create my chocolate chips. I have white cardstock to create the head of the actual ice cream. And then I have a piece of white cardstock that's going to go inside, and that measures 5.5 by 3 3/4. And then today we've got a unusual size for me. It's 4 inches by 11.5, and then that gets folded in half. So I'm going to put these bits aside, and we're going to do the cutting first. So the first thing we need to cut is the white ice cream. I'm going to, let's put the back of this on. So this is adhesive sheet, and it's got a little section where I can peel off because it's the way I cut it. There we go, cut off. So the glue is on this side. Thank you very much, mister. I'm actually going to pop that on the back of my white of my early espresso. I take that layer off, and then we can glue it down. So that's how the adhesive sheet works, if you didn't see on Wednesday's video. That will then go over that on the machine and be cut out. And then we have the gorgeous grape. As I said, I've already put the adhesive sheet back on there. And before I cut this one out, I actually want to stamp the cone effect. So I'm going to, I've got the gorgeous, no I haven't, I've got the crumb cake, got gorgeous grape on the grape today. I'm just going to stamp that over my stamp. Now I'm taking the pad to the stamp this way because it's actually quite a large one. Makes it easier to cover the stamp. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that down like so. Pop it down, and then we've got our ice cream cone there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer that over the top, and then that can go through the cutting machine, and I've already got the printout there. Okay, so there's a cutout now, so we can get rid of that. Put it that way, and there's the ice cream, the chocolate chips. So I'm going to leave that attached just for the moment. Then I'm going to pull that one out so that can go. These pieces will fall out, so I'll show you those in a minute. And then of course we've got our ice cream cone, which we can get rid of the paper. Pop that in the bin. Right, so what we need to do now is we need to cut. Now what you'll notice, there is a grid line here. What we need to do is just get a sharp pair of scissors and cut straight across. And let me get those. Whew. I'm just going to cut straight across. There we go. And this bit can either be used again for a piece of another card or thrown away. So that, oh, excuse me, is our ice cream. Now, because this section is actually going, this section is going to be seen on the other side of the card, I'm just going to turn it round and stamp the cone on there again. Oh, excuse me. Every time I come on, I seem to have a frog in my throat. Okay, so I'm going to hover that over there, and hopefully that will just go straight down and straight up. There we go. So we have it on both sides. So if you've got one side better than the other, you can choose, but I'm still going to stick with that one, so that's good. I'm going to close my crumb cake. Do excuse me while I take a sip of my tea, otherwise I think I'm going to find I'm going to be coughing all through it again. That's better. And now we've got our ice cream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put our ice cream together to a certain degree, then we'll cut up the supplies. So there's our white ice cream. Now this, as you can see, comes out and there's bits that fall out. We don't want those pieces, and we don't need those pieces, so they can actually be popped aside. I suppose if you wanted to do a two-tone ice cream, if you ran that section through twice on two different colours, you could then use those sections on the other side, if you see what I mean. Okay, so we've got that now. I just need my pointy tool. Everything's in reach, but when you're videoing, it's always out of reach. Okay, and that brings the flavour. Okay, now what I want to do, my thoughts are this, that I need to have my chocolate cones, flakes, in the ice cream. So the best way to do that is to stick these two down, work out roughly where you want them to go. So I'm thinking there works quite well. I'm going to take those out. Then I'm going to peel off the backing on this. There we go. And that comes off. Come on. There we go. Now we roughly know where we want it, so I'm going to stick it down. It has a white layer around the edge on this one. I'm going to then stick on in there, and then the next one in as well. Okay, and then I can stick the rest of the, there we go, the rest of that down. Now I can, let's have a look, I could put a cherry there. Yeah, that works. Let's get a dimensional and pop the dimensional on the top there, and then that can go over there. Then we can attach it to our ice cream cone. Now what I do is I run a line of glue along there, and then when I bring the ice cream down, come on, I know you're in there, thank you. Bring the ice cream down. I make sure it's covered. There we go, and then I know the ice cream isn't too high up. Now I'll put on the chocolate in a minute. I just want to make sure that that's stick, and make sure I definitely want the chocolate flakes on there. Right, so let's bring in our papers. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to fold this in half, like so, and we're going to burnish the top. Then I'm going to bring in my cutter. Whoops, as if I don't break it first. And I'm going to make sure that my crease lines up with the 2-inch mark. Okay, there we go. definitely all the way up. There we go. And then I'm going to cut. Okay, so that gives us our top section of our card. Then I'm going to cut off 1 inch from the bottom. I'm going to check it's 1 inch. I'm sure it is. I just want to... No, look at that. It was 1.5 inches. I'm glad I stopped. Measure twice, cut once. So we're going to cut off 1.5 inches at the bottom. There we go. See, and then that will go down the bottom there. And our ice cream will go over the top. But first we need to cut our designer series paper. So the designer series paper needs to be cut at 3 3/4 inches across that way. 3 3/4 inches. There we go. And then the first one, because it's 2 inches, needs to be, the bottom layer is 2 inches. We're going to cut that at 1 3/4. Okay, and then that we will glue onto there, like so. And then that one's, the bottom one was 1.5, so we're going to cut that to 1 1/4. And by doing it this way, we make sure the sunshines all are going the correct direction. Okay. Now we can glue those on. So bring in my glue. Come on, glue. Okay. Well, the weather here today is a little bit better than it was on Wednesday. I hope it is with you. Our April showers seem to be getting very long. They seem to be lasting days instead of moments. Can't wait till the summer comes. Right, so that's our first layer. And then this is our next one, which will go into there. So you can tell I live in England because we're always talking about the weather. Probably because our weather is so unpredictable. There we go. My son is hoping to return to uni in September and take his masters. But while he's waiting, he's got himself a little job. He's got himself a job as a window cleaner. And it's, as a window cleaner, you realise how unpredictable the English weather is. You know, he has set hours, but very rarely does he have them because it rains or it's too windy. But there we go. Right, I'm going to layer the white card inside. And of course, you know, you can't really make plans. But there we go. I suppose in the hotter countries you don't have those problems, but I'm sure they in themselves bring other problems. Right, so the thing to do now is to firmly burnish this card. Bring this one into place like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stick down our ice cream. So let's bring that in. So, you know, hover it over so you can work out roughly where it's going to go. Right, so that's roughly. So I need to know that I need to put glue on the first kind of hump of the ice cream, so just across there. Because obviously I don't want it here because I don't want it to stick on the lower layer. So I'm just going to take that, turn it over, and then I'm going to put the glue on that section. Right. So then I know that's where that's going to go. So hold it down, make sure our base card is in place, and then there we go, we can stick it down. Just double check. Yep. It's not glued underneath. Now we can do the same with the base section of the cone. So we know it's going to be roughly there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. Again, make sure, because obviously it can keep moving while it's loose. Hold it down and drop it down. And now we've got the base. Okay, so that's virtually done. We've got our strawberries to put into place. And we've got our chocolate. So do I want chocolate? Let's see. Take my pokey tool out. Because this is still in place, I can just poke out a few of the chocolate drops that I might want. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Always an odd number, so let's go with 5. Okay, so flip them over. We can take our top off and then work out where we're going to put it. So I'm going to put a little bit down there. That's 1. Again. Quite fiddly, but with the glue, once it's down, you can, with the sheets, it makes it a little bit easier. 2. Now I'm thinking that the chocolate drops look better on the white card rather than on the gorgeous grey. Okay, so let's see where we can go. Put a bit up there. 3. Flip it over. Come on. There we go. Let's put a tiny bit there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see where that one's going to go. Isn't it funny how odd numbers on pictures and things, cards, always looks better than a, it looks more balanced than an even number. Very strange. Right, so they work quite nicely. I'm going to bring in my Wink of Stella, she says. Where have I put it? It's vanished off the face of the earth. Let me stretch over. Oh, there it is. It's just fallen down. And I'm just going to put a bit of glitter on my cherry. And put some glitter on the other pieces of the cherries here. Yeah, let's check. They seem to be sticking to the... That's better. Yeah, see, that one's already got its glitter. So I just want to add... Can you see the difference? I'm just going to add the different glitter onto this one now. There we go. Now, they get added to the base round the cone. So I'm thinking 1, 2, and then maybe the the cherry up the top. Yep, that works for me. Okay, so the first thing to do is glue this one down flat. So that's 1. And that one goes down there. And all we need to do now is add a dimensional to the back of our cherry. Wow, do apologise about that. I share my office with my grandchildren, and my grandson's aeroplane has just fallen off the shelf. bizarre. No. Nothing broken. That's the main thing. Right, so our cherry is in, and now we can have our sentiment to go across there. So I'm going to use the happy birthday sentiment from the stamp set Go to Greetings. I'm going to use the small one, and I'm going to stamp it in early espresso, and I need a sentiment. Right, so let's see how that measures up. I'm going to pop it in the bottom corner here. Right, so I reckon I could probably get it as 1/2 inch and 2 inches wide. So let's cut that, as I seem to have not bothered to bring it with me. So let's go 1/2 inch. Put that down, and 2 inches wide. I'll cut myself a second one just in case. There we go. Right, now let's bring that in. And the espresso. Tap that gently. Bring that down here. I'm just hoping that it's going to fit. And straight down. And straight up. Yes! That's a relief. And then what I'm going to do is I shall bring in the dimensionals again. And 2. And we can add that. And I'm just going to pop it down at the base of the cone. And there we go. Oh, that's a little bit wonky. That's it. Let's bring that just a touch up. That's it. I'm happier with that. Okay, so there is our card for today. This is the one that I made previously. So you can see there's a slight difference, but I'm happy with both. Now I'm just going to take these away for a second and bring into you the card that I made with the girls when we did our retreat, and it's this one. It's the ice cream cone. It's great fun, and it opens up like that, and you've got your happy birthday, and you can write a little message inside, and it's a 3D one, and it stands like that. But you have to make sure that it's balanced, otherwise it falls over. My one is balanced. There we go. As you can see, it's a bit difficult to see it like that, but as you can see, it does stand up upright, and that's the card that we created with the girls at our retreat. So I hope you liked this week's stamp set. It is thankfully carrying over to the catalogue for next year, so I'm very excited about that. So there'll be some other ideas we can come across and create together. But for now, enjoy the rest of your week and have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully I'll catch up with you on Monday. So stay safe, take care, and lots of love. Bye.